So as it is, we'll be bringing different guests from different angle of the world, from different area of occupation or different kind of thing. Would you do it? It could be a doctor, it could be a lawyer, it could be anybody. So I want to get started with them, probing them, asking them questions. It's the same thing I was doing on one-on-one, but this is just going to be a brand new arrangement on a brand new platform. Without further ado, tonight, I also want to say that there will be opportunity for people who want to bring their market, who want to advertise, who want to be showcased, who wants to be known for wider audience, who probably they could be lawyers, they could be doctors, they can be tailors, they can be even mechanic or whatever. So this is going to be the platform where they will need, and I promise to do my best to promote, to showcase whoever wants to come to our way to Cleveland. Finally, every 15 minutes on this show tonight, there'll be a short break to allow the house rules, and these are the new announcements I want to make to the whole world. I want to welcome all our viewers, people who are also listening. Next time we'll be connecting directly to OtunbaHooLatest radio station, so you'll be hearing us simultaneously to while we are doing this show. People will also have the advantage of listening to us on the radio. All that is, we are working on all that. Yeah. So tonight I want to start this maiden show with a special young man in Nigeria. I'm sure the youth will probably know him more than people of my age. And because in 2 weeks' time, I will be celebrating my 7th. And you will need to walk the walk. You will need to go through 60, 70 before you can understand what it is to be 70. So I want to wish everybody that long life and everything. I'm going to start by saying the name. I'm not used to it, but it's a typical, proper bred Yoruba man. I'm going to ask him to pronounce the name, but I can start by saying he's an Honorable Niyi Amir Gbodimowo. Please do not be angry if I'm making the pronunciation, and I'll tell you where I'm coming from. It's not an excuse when I say I left Nigeria in 1970, and because of that, she and Yoruba money. So hello, I wanted to watch something while only be 1969, because I have a friend. He said he got to America in 1969. And look, I was there. I was in Europe before you. So what's the problem? So, Gbodimowo, can you hear me pronounce the name properly?
Ekale, good evening. Well, I mean, all throughout my life, I've had people, different people attempt to pronounce that name, and I'll say maybe only about 25% get it right. And the people that, and that's also usually skewed towards the Jebu people, that they immediately see it as, we'll call Jebuni, and that's a Jebu name, and they will just pronounce it exactly the way it's meant to be. And the correct pronunciation is Gbodimowo.
Gbodimowo. You need to be very careful, because once you say Gbodimowo, again, if it has been Gbodimowo, that will Jebu, because anything money is Jebulo and here. When I say the Gbodimowo, you are taking people to area Ekiti, Jeshan, Kankan. Am I right?
My own is quintessentially Jebu.
Fantastic. I just want to make sure that we are speaking the same language. Welcome to OtunbaHooLatest show, Gbodimowo. Honorable Niyi Amir Gbodimowo. Who are you?
Okay. Well, again, good evening, Otunba, and happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
It's a blessing to reach a ripe, matured age.
Thank you.
We all pray, to the Almighty for long life, good health for Kambale àti àlàáfíà. That's what we all pray for. And it's a blessing to be able to see that you have also been blessed with a long life and àlàáfíà, good health. So happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Many more.
Okay,
so, thank you. So so who am I? Well, I mean, I think there are two ways to define who I am. Three, from a professional perspective, from a political perspective, and from a maybe personal. Let me start with professional. I'm a software engineer. I'm an essentially trained software engineer. I'm a professional in the business. I've been in the industry, software industry, or broader technology industry for over 22 years. Over 22 years. I read computer science, mathematics at the University of Bristol in England. Before that, I had attended a lot of my schools in Nigeria. I grew up in Surulere. Surulere in Lagos, and I went to Federal Government College Janikin in Federal Government Lagos in Janikin. So all my schools were in Lagos. I went to Oxford and I read computer science and maths in university in England. I worked in England for a few years. Then I got bitten by the proverbial entrepreneurial bug, as they call it. And so since then, I've always been running a business and taking on a lot of responsibility. From a very young age, I've been very responsible at the end of every month for payroll, which is a lot of pressure for a young man to be under. But thank all glory to God, and all thanks to God. And I have a very successful 22-year career, basically building solutions for banks, public sector organizations around the world, media companies, oil and gas. Basically, been building a lot of solutions. If you think about how when companies say they want to automate their operations, they call people like us. When they're looking for the domain expert, they call people like us. When they're looking for a reliable person, reliable company, they call people like us. So that's the niche in which we have operated in. We're going to try and drive change in this country, and you can't. Number one, you can't essentially push the problem onto somebody else and blame someone else. You have to take responsibility, even if you don't feel that you are directly responsible for it. At the end of the day, the country is our country. It's nobody else's country. So who else is going to fix it if it's not for young people, that are coming of age, right? So I thought, and one first way to fix things, or should I say, when people think about the problems in Nigeria, they think about leadership in politics. And so how do you fix those things if you don't get involved? So that's the simple math I did in my mind, and I thought, okay, look, I'm going to get involved. And the best way to get involved is to, in my own view, is to get involved politically, right, at the grassroots level. Because again, based on my training, when if you have a problem, you've got to analyze the root causes, right? And once you analyze the root causes, you address them directly. So I thought, look, part of the problems that we have stem from, lack of accountability to people at the grassroots, the regular people in Nigeria, right? And if you don't understand their needs, then you can't actually represent them. So I immediately started, getting involved in grassroots politics, essentially. And what does that really mean? It's, for me, it started off with just basically charity work, trying to get engaged with people, understand their lives, understand their needs and problems. So I've been doing that for progressively. I got involved in I joined the All Progressive Congress, which appeals to me because of its mandate or tenets about progressivism. We all know what progressivism means, and so I felt that's for at least for a country like this, we need to take care of the social welfare of our people. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the APC. And And for me, I just thought, look, let me learn the ropes, start at the grassroots level, and that's what I've been doing. And it sort of, there's a confluence between, trying to understand people's lives and trying to work I will work that a lot of NGOs do. So invariably, I found myself running essentially ad hoc NGOs, right? What do I mean by that? The best example is when COVID-19 pandemic occurred. We found ourselves in Nigeria on uncharted territory. No one could move, no one could trade. I remember then when the president announced that there's going to be a lockdown, I called my friend and said, boy, there's going to be a problem here. People that are working hand to mouth, vulcanizers, mechanics, market women that live based on what they trade on and profit they make per day, right? How do they eat? How do they feed their families? So we started this NGO called COVID-8 that was meant to just feed about maybe up to maximum of 5,000 people, we thought. Just provide them with rice, beans, things like that, subsistence, right? And, it went very viral. We had we actually thought we'd get about maybe up maximum of 5,000 over a period of 2 or 3 months of people that are interested. What we had done, we created a website and a mobile app, mobile USSD code, right? Where if you want food, if you don't have food in your house, you will just either go on the website and put your information in there, and then we'll just send someone over to your house if you're within the area. Or if we have volunteers in the area, you can press the code in your phone to register your details. And I was so shocked. We planned for 5,000 people. We had about 500,000 people.
Wow.
It was the most unbelievable thing I've seen in my life.
I must say, I'm sorry to interrupt you. First thing first, let me use this opportunity to tell all our viewers, please do not call, because you don't have any number to call anyway. So when we get to that part, we will give you a number to call. And it depends on how much time we have, because I want to take as much as possible from my guest tonight. If you're unable to have a number, please do not call the Skype. The Skype is not for you, it's for our guest and the host. There's a link. Press it, it takes you straight to watching this show. Please do not call Skype and do not make any attempt to call a number you don't have. Thank you. Now, do you want to say the same thing to some of your, because I can imagine a large number of people who want to see you, but they want to, at the same time, I don't know what they want to call you for, but please, can you tell them so we can continue free of distractions?
I think we've asked some of my aides here to announce on various WhatsApp forums that we use that the link, the Skype link is the incorrect one, the private link, and the public link in the flyer, www.clevenard.com/TV is the link that they should go to. So I think that announcement has gone out, and hopefully everybody will self-correct as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm enjoying your company, and I believe speaking the same language, understand the same language. I need to say this, Honorable Niyi. I want to give you 2 minutes to tell us about your mission and vision. So 2 minutes because of time, because we still want to see if we can allow people to call in or whatever. But tell us about your. Yeah.
So I was, before we went on break, I was talking about my professional life, my political life, and my personal life, which kind of leads on nicely into what my mission and vision is. So, I mean, for me, I guess I'm what you call an eternal optimist. I really like Nigeria. I like this country. I've lived in many countries around the world. I really like this country. Not as a cliche, but I just feel that it's like almost like like a blank canvas. There's so much we can do with it, right? Lived in England, very regimental, not regimental, maybe that's the wrong word, but well organized society. A lot of it already been done. But Nigeria is like, it's like a fresh flower. There's so much you can do with it, right? And I feel, and we also have some unique opportunities here, that, young, large numbers of creative people. I feel inspired to be here, despite all the problems. And generally, and because my own personality, I've always felt that I need to have a legacy. It must be something that when I'm gone, we all have a finite amount of time in this world. When I'm gone, it must be something that whoever comes up behind me and say, oh, this is what Mr. Niyi did, this is Mr. Gbodimowo did, and that's one thing that drives me. Like, okay, I don't want to come and meander through this life without having some sort of permanent, indelible mark on it. And where better to do it than in this country? When things go wrong in Nigeria, when I see no lights, right now, no petrol scarcity for the umpteenth time, it makes me feel bad, but I still know that I can't give up on this country. We can't. These are problems, but problems require solutions. And who else will fix this country apart from us young people, right? So, in summary, I see myself as a patriot and someone that just. Some people call me Aaron, because they ask me, "Why are you still doing Nigeria? Why don't you leave this country?" Blah blah blah. But again, I see it as a challenge, something where touching people's lives. Those are the kind of things that make me happy, And so my vision is just build that legacy in the amount of time I have left in this world. That's basically what drives me, and that's the overarching objective behind everything I do in my life at this point in time.
Nice to hear. If somebody comes to you, Honorable Niyi, if somebody comes to you and say, well, I think because of ABCD reasons, I can show you a better way of doubling or even making what you are doing now 10 times fold. And because here you are straight, and because you just said it in your presentation, that the challenges of basic things seems to be very, very unusual. Because when you look at a small country like Holland, where basic things are provided to enable more results from people like you, are just not available. And you want to know why is that? And you find out that there is a constitution that is making life impossible for people. What will you say to them?
So, okay, at some point you cut out there, but I think I got the gist of the question. That if people, there are problems. Clearly, there are problems in Nigeria, right? Many problems that need fixing, and a lot of people many of these problems are invariably tied to the structure of our political structure, right? The structure of our government, and people are talking about, so and it again goes back to our constitution, specifically 1999 constitution, right? And basically, if there's a fix to a problem, current problem, the solution to some of our problems lies in reworking the constitution. Should we do it? Of course we should. Of course we should. It's a no-brainer, right? So, like I said, problems are looking for solutions. Right? There's a fix in there. Then we will, the solution to a particular problem is changing something in the constitution. Then we should change it. However, we should always bear in mind that not all solutions have just one. Not all problems have just one solution. Sometimes you have problems that have many solutions. So you have to look at all the solutions and find the best one and then go ahead with it. Well, I'm happy to ask you. I think there's a more specific question you want to ask me there. But maybe if you ask me, then I'll ask.
I will. I just want to walk you through it. I don't want to jump. I want to walk you through to let our viewers understand that this host is just not taking advantage of his guests. All I'm trying to say is, you just said it. I believe 99% of Nigerian problems is can be found with the kind of a constitution that is kind of a manual to run a country, to make a country vibrant, to make a country work clockwise, to allow, like I said, here you are. You have all what it takes to be an entrepreneur in different areas. And I look at the background, think digital. If somebody says to you, I'm really, I'm not happy that somebody say error here, because what they are trying to say, can't you see, we have a something, a stumbling block? How much are we doing to remove that stumbling block? And again, I want to go back to the constitution, that the constitution of Nigeria is a stumbling block. But even at that, why don't you think that there's a need for us to find a solution to this constitutional problem? But not only that, and somebody said to you, Niyi, better fish, better days ahead, you have a better opportunities where things are put in place for you to enhance, to allow you to move faster. Again, as you can see, digital is the opposite of analog, isn't it? I bet the way things are in Nigeria is just still, it still look like analog. We are still like in an analog era. And you now ask them, what do you want me to do? You say, well, I think from experience, we have a 61-year-old person in the house, and that guy cannot even lift a finger. What do we do with it? Do we take him to repair, or do we take him to a managing whatever home and that kind of thing? I generally, I'm trying to say to you, if some group of people say, look, we have tried, and that is the truth. And I always say this. Gbodimowo only in 1970. I was one of the people looking for green pasture. 1970. 52 years on. Next month, like I said, I will have completed 52 years outside the shores of Nigeria. Now, it's still the same thing. NEPA, Kosino, Kosomi, Kosono, Kosi, Wala, Nigogwe. Look at the number of what you are doing. You are expecting 5,000 people to come and for your NGO to support them. And you said to me, and I believe you, almost 1 million not turn up. Isn't that overwhelming? So I'm thinking, and I'm believing that some people who are saying, these people are not yielding. Some people just refuse to agree that we should make progress in this country. And for us, we have a group of people who have been very, very successful before. Western region, and I'll tell you, almost about 85% of success, good story about Nigeria, came from Western region. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. It was the good old days, as they say.
Good old days. So what will make people like you at your age start thinking, bad old days? What do you want your children to say after we have gone, Say, Baba consequently, good old days, but bad old days, that's why. You want to fix it. And that takes me to another area I want to talk with you. So put it together. What is the percentage of how you feel Nigeria have fared the last 61 years?
Last 61 years. I think it's a very tough question.
You can use your current parameters. You can use the current situation of things to at least check into how it was. And I just giving you example of the last 52 years that we in a country where NEPA, has always been, electricity has always been an issue. Good roads has always been an issue. Education, luckily, we are very lucky. because we had someone among all the bad leaders who has the kind of a foresight and say, look, education should be the bedrock of a good governance. Education should be something nobody should be denied of. As you speak now, without, trying to be modest, how many children are in school on some of, isn't that a kind of an indictment on some of our people? What's the take?
Okay, well, so it's 61 years ago when Nigeria had its independence. Everybody was full of hope. There is a new nation being born. There's very enterprising people, very hardworking people, smart people. Nigeria was projected to be, was going to be a great power eventually, right? Or sooner rather than later. But somewhere around the line, some things went wrong, as we all know. I don't want to go through a complete history lesson. Right? I think you understand where I'm coming. Now, where we are right now, we have one of the biggest problems we have right now is this unemployment issue. Right? When again, I always try to go back to first principles. We have economic problems, crime, security issues. It comes down to one metric that embodies everything is the unemployment rate, especially amongst the youth. I think it's edging over 45% amongst the youth itself. I think on a general, it's probably about maybe at least over 30% across the entire population, right? And that, for me, that's a big issue, a big problem, and something I've been trying to track for over at least almost a decade. I've seen it get progressively worse, and that unemployment problem is a leading indicator of even future problems. So where I'm going now is that even bad, it could potentially get worse. But the Oyinbo's people say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? What should we do about it now? I believe that ultimately, in order to increase our economic productivity, right, the first thing we need to do is solve this security problem, right? Security problem. If you can't create jobs without improving economic productivity, you can't improving economic productivity without solving the security problems that are plaguing the nation from the northeast down to the southwest, right? And embedded in that is essentially the inability of our internal security system, our policing system, to address the increasing crime. Now, as you know, just last year we had this last year, yeah, we had NSAS. Sorry, 2 years ago. Yeah,
2 years ago, yeah.
In October,
yeah.
We had the NSAS riots protests because of, ostensibly because of police violence and other issues as well, right? Now, these are the people. When you look at all these things, they all seem like they are symptoms of misgovernance and all around. But when you look at it, you think, why are these policemen acting this way? Look at other countries like the UK. You have the Metropolitan Police. They're very accountable. Within London. The Yorkshire Police are very accountable. You look at America, you have state police in every single state. You have even county police, very accountable. They're basically the systems of accountability. So where I'm going with all this is that, from my own perspective, we have a failure of accountability. That people that make actions that people are taking, that they're not necessarily being held to account for.
Who are these people? Niyi, who are these people you're talking about?
No, it's all around. Everywhere you go, you go around, someone's asking for a bribe. You go somewhere, I'm not talking about necessarily, it's everywhere you go. You are in the bus, somebody like maybe now, we have fuel scarcity. Some people are hiking petrol, right? We are doing that to ourselves. So we are, and some people have, maybe brought in fake goods or so whatever it is. People are doing drugs. People are just doing things that are to get, collectively bringing down this nation, right? And when I look at it, I say, look, first of all, what role does the government have to play here, right? Even the government itself, the police, the civil servants, the politicians, everybody needs to be accountable for their own behavior. If they are not accountable, people can do anything they want, and they'll feel that I shouldn't be accountable. When that man did whatever, he got left off for free, or when that judge, let that man off, nobody said anything about it. So everywhere we go, people have to be held accountable. So where am I going with this? With part of the again, going back to security, we have in the 1999 Constitution, essentially a policing system that is controlled from the center. I feel that, since security is the number one, I believe is the number one problem in Nigeria at the moment, right? First thing that we need to fix, we need to at least look at how we restructure how our policing works, so that the police become more accountable to the people that they are policing. They're coming from within the same communities, and their leadership, accountable to the elected leadership in the states. I think those kind of, and even the funding for the police needs to come from within the states themselves, so that people, as police that are accountable to you, you are also accountable to the police. So those are things that
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Naturally, in talk show, you don't, unless it's necessary, that is very, very necessary. You have been told that this is not possible to reform, to change, to make amendments, because there's a constitution that is so contracted, said to you, Niyi, that you cannot change it. They are the people that are supposed to change it. They are not making these changes as you speak. As you speak, this has been going on. I'm sorry, I'm not being anything with your age, but well, I don't know. You might be very close to my age, but still looking younger. Yeah. The point I'm making is, you've seen it yourself, that the amount of people you will have rolled out of with degrees in IT and some other area, things have not been possible because of the, I keep using the word contraction, because of the structure, because the way things are put together. I'm just trying to convince you before I ask you another question. The way it is, it's not going to change. They don't want to change. Some people are beneficiaries of this bad put together constitution, because what is going on in Holland, in Belgium, and whatever, Germany, is because the constitution, the people's constitution put together, is enabling them, is giving them. That's why they're able to change the 40-year-old Mercedes. They change it to a more digital, beautiful car that even now today anybody can fit his own car. So see how much enjoyment you and I are having. You are in 6,000 away from me. Let me go back. There's a serious problem. You and I know of your in Nigeria, but you and I know that there are two major tribes are saying, you know what, because we have waited and waited and waited and waited. I think it's high time we want to start doing our own thing, because like I said, they're not going to change you to open farm. What will you say if somebody say to you, why don't you want to try another method of maybe like it was during the time of Western region, when Western region was doing township beautiful things. They started in such a way. Yeah, they started small, but they grew up. They have the first of everything: first stadium, first television station, good roads, the collection of taxes, the information rediffusion. There's so many things they were doing, and they make so much, and just from nowhere, because we matched together, and then everything just going backwards. Shagamu used to be a beautiful place. Illusion used to be a nice place. Things were working. So if somebody said to you, I want to complain, what will you say to them? Don't you think, what do you think about that?
Okay, so you said a lot of things. Now
I'm going to give you a lot of time to answer.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's start off with first assumption that we cannot, some people are holding us to account, ransom. We cannot fix this country ourselves. We can fix this country ourselves, right? I think it's self-defeating to even just assume that the only way we can rescue this nation is through maybe some sort of violent revolution. I don't believe so. I don't think we most people.
I did not say that, Niyi. I did not say that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying, not you, sir. Not you, sir. I mean, I see there's so many comments from different quarters, But what I'm saying is, with the current process, with the current constitution, and the rights, that it affords us, there is an opportunity to right core wrongs. That, for example, we are very lucky in Nigeria to have a democracy, right? It's not a particularly common thing in Africa. Right next to us in Cameroon, we have a person that's been there for loads of years. In Togo, we have all these presidents that are just there perennially. But here in Nigeria, we have a system that now tried and tested where we can that at least maximum 8 years, current person will go. That nobody's going to sit in there tightly forever, and we are so diverse that. Even if there's one strong man somewhere, there's another strong man or two that are ready to checkmate them here and there, and the checks and balances implicitly, because of the diversity of the nation, right? And we are never, there isn't a case where we have one sort of cult of personality that will last indefinitely, and no one person is lording over Nigeria, as some sort of dictator forever, right? So we are lucky in that case. We are lucky that every 4 years, we get an election that progressively since 1999 has been getting better and better and better, right? And even more digital and more open, and more people register. So that's a positive trend in the midst of all the problems that we are that encircles us. Now, so when you look at the trend, these people are getting more empowered in terms of the ability to make their voice heard. Right, it's not getting worse; it's getting better. Unless people want to believe that in their mind that vote to lobby on behalf of their constituency, right? So right here, I'm here in Surulere. I have a rep. I'm very lucky that the person that represents Surulere, at least one part of Surulere, is even the Speaker of the House of Representatives, right? And we also have another rep from another party in the other part of Surulere that represents the other part of Surulere. They're both Yoruba men. They're both Southerners. We know where the office is. We can at least find a way to get if we want to get a message to either of them, we can get the message to them, right? And they have a responsibility to us that look, as a collective, all these representatives, that to lobby for what we want. So if we want a change to the constitution, right, the existing constitution empowers these same men and women to do that, to make those changes, right? So, but in a democratic way. So, if we want, for example, state policing, and enough people are agitating and telling their reps that look, before we support you, we want you to make sure that you are going to fight for this state policing, then they will have to do that, right? So they know that come 4 years, if they don't do it, people will not see. Should be when you went the first time. Now you'll come back for our votes. Right, the next person that we're going to put in there, you will know that look, they will remove you if you don't. This is what people want. So invariably, as long as you have people are getting engaged in the political process, you can drive the political change you are looking for. Right. As long as people are engaged in the political process, you can drive the political change you are looking for. If you step out of the political process, then you may, it will always seem as if you are scratching the walls and you can't, a metal wall and you can't get through. Right. So. To answer your question, sir, yes, we know that things, we know all the good things that happened during the good old days, all the potential. We want to recover those potentials, right? And I said,
how many more years do you need?
Yes, do we need to recover it? No, I mean, every National Assembly has 4 years. We have an election in 2023.
What's the progress of the last, let me even say the last 16, 20 years made? Hello.
One of the many progresses, right? But one of them is our electoral system. It has gotten better. It hasn't gotten worse.
Oh, no more rigging.
No, there is. I'm sure there is rigging somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of that, no, I mean, even in America, they are still complaining about rigging.
Right? Don't use that parameter, and I will tell you, an average American has basic things of life. It's just like if my prime minister goes tomorrow, I can't be bothered because as far as I'm concerned, the structure provides for everybody in this country.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now we're going to go on another short break. When we come back, I'm going to take you on more of a political area. Please, viewers, do not go away. Just hold on there. Thank you very much. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Sustain his occupation, and he's been very loyal to the people. I read a lot of things about him. He may not know that. Now, but part of this last question that I'm going to ask him is still going to be revolved to the present situation in the country. And I'm happy he confirmed. He can, I don't know, it may be too late to do, but you agree that there's still a great element of selections, not elections. You know that. Selections, not elections, because in most cases, we have a couple of people that their godfatherism had made situation in Nigeria worse. Because if correct people that have good mind, that have intention of wanting to fix problem, have been properly elected, they probably will have gone out there to fix problem. But if you have to spend so much money, so much money to get nomination, and if you get nomination, there's so much money to spend on the campaign and so on and so forth, you eventually get elected or selected. What will be your first priorities when you have sold 2 or 3 of your houses? What will you be trying to do?
Yes, to me, direct question or
It's a direct question, yeah.
Well, I'm not selling any of my houses to get elected. That's number one.
For those who have,
if it's a generic, so the generic, general. I think it's a very wrong sign if you are selling properties or
borrowing money from the bank
in a way, because you want to get elected, right? And also it matters why you want to get elected. It really matters. It really, really matters, because invariably politics is an expensive business, or should I say expensive undertaking. Let me put that.
In Nigeria.
The reason why all around the world today. I'll explain why I say so, right? Some of these costs may not be things that you see immediately, right? Number one, I think all around the world, at least in democracies, right, the number one currency for a politician is his goodwill, his or her goodwill, right? Goodwill, you have to build it over time. That's what I mean that it's expensive. It's expensive in time, right? It's expensive in time, and it can be expensive in resources, because in some places you have to just spend a lot of time helping the community. Obama, before he became president, was spending a lot of time as a community organizer before he rose up the ranks. He didn't just turn up one day, right? So it's and invariably, because time is money, they say that's what I mean by it's expensive, right? Now in Nigeria, and from a direct perspective, right, building goodwill has unfortunately gone beyond just speaking English, as they say, right? People need to know that you are investing in your community, right? You care about them, because a lot of people believe that politicians, when they get in there, they will not see them again, and blah, blah, and things like that, right? And they call it the trust gap, that's eroded over time. The trust basis has eroded over time, because different governments or different politicians have broken the social contract that they had with the people to support them in their welfare and their development. So they just think that you're going to use and dump them. That's the term. Now, you can correct that, right? You have to correct that by showing that, look, I care about my community. I care about you. I care about your welfare. I will try and help you, with your, with issues that you have. Maybe your children don't like what we've done here, a free community ICT center for the benefit and good of the community. It costs a lot of money, but we've done it because we want to show the community that, look, we care, and this is a sustainable operation that will run. This is the second year of its running. Over 5,000 people coming through here every year, and we're showing the community that we care about you, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. Right, that's what I mean by it's expensive, because you're trying to build your goodwill over time, and it goes beyond that as well. You may organize trainings for people. You will spend a lot of time trying to, maybe, for example, I give an example. Go back to electricity. There are electricity problems in many pockets of Lagos, many places around Lagos. Now, in my own community, we have issues with the discos. A lot of people still get estimated bills. Now, so as a politician, you may say, okay, this is a concern for a large number of people here. Let me see if I can spend my time and my own resources to be their lead advocate and help them, raise the issues with the upper management of the discos to ensure that the estimated bills that they are getting are reduced or they are waived. So these are the things that they don't make the news. They don't make the headlines or Punch newspaper or Guardian newspapers. They are the things that people do you're meant to do in the election off season, not in the year of the election. You do it over time. So, and that's what is, to use a general term, it's the unsexy part of politics, right? Legwork, So that's what I mean by it's expensive, because sometimes
I understand your analysis there. I tend to. I don't want to disagree with you, but I'm going to take you to the last lap, one of the last questions I want to ask you. And again, this is not personal. You know, and I know, and millions of Nigerians know that there are two major groups. There are three, but there are two major groups that are campaigning that just had enough. The most, they are both prominent, but the most prominent one is the people. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude to others. That has more to offer her own people or their own people than still want to be forced to stay in a marriage that is not working. Let's take example of the Yorubas. I'm sure you must have heard about the campaign for the Yoruba people saying, look, naturally we were put together by force. There was a kind of amalgamation that took place over 100 years ago. The right way of doing it, let us divorce. I've been through divorce twice, and again, nothing to hide. You're laughing. If you add another 30 years plus your age, you will see all what everybody. I am not advocating that anybody should go and divorce. So please stick to your marriage, whether you like it or not. So, so now we have these a great number of Yorubas saying we have enough. Alema so omo kama sheberu kama fiyajerawa lábẹ́ àwọn kan tí wọ́n gbé AK-47 tó ń pa àwọn ọmọ wa, tó ń fìyà jẹ àwọn ìyàwó wa, àwọn bàbá wa, tí wọ́n jẹ́ kán rọ́nà gbà, tó ń jẹ́ kán move on. And àwọn kan dẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ tó ń support wọn, and àwọn tẹ̀ ń support wọn, you and I know ìpè torí tí wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ ni ò jẹ́ kí wọ́n gbọ́n. Because when you look at the history of the way things are, Yoruba is a full, complete group of people. That their language, their similarity, their everything is so complete and ready to go for their own nation. What do you want to say to these people who are campaigning to go their own way?
Okay. It's one of the saddest things. It's very sad for us that we've come to this level in our nation, national development, where we have various secessionary movements. And for good reason, people are getting frustrated about the country, about the way the country is getting frustrated. And, again, all I can say is, when I was growing, my vision of Nigeria in 2022 was something that, was like the way London was back then. Nigeria on the same level, much more than I didn't in my wildest dreams envisage that we'd still be having electricity outages all the time for like days on end, things like that, and other problems as well. And most important, I felt that Nigeria would be at least a top 10 country in the world. I always wanted that, not some middle, 50th country or in the rankings. I always wanted Nigeria to be top 10 or top 5 because I feel that Nigeria is the vanguard for all black people around the world, right? As a young person living in England, I've seen all sorts of different types of racism, different types of way people look at some of us people of our skin. And I felt that, look, just as the Jewish people take a lot of pride in their homeland, right? We as black people need to have a lot of pride in our homeland. And we need to work, and this homeland, this Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, where we all live, the majority of us live, right? We need to work together, we really need to work together, because, right, when women are divided, you fall, united you stand, divided you fall, right?
And what will Lonika work together with? Who are these people you have in mind?
We as a black race, because to people out, other people out living in England, there's no difference between a Ghanaian and a Nigerian. They're all the same thing, or Sudanese and a Nigerian, or whatever. They black man, right? And I'm concerned again about the legacy and the future, right? Because whatever we are going through right now, it will pass. Everything, my father too must have been orphaned, and that all the anguish and the problems he had, it passed. But whenever we are going to our nation, I understand why, and that route is the best way to the better future, right? However, because we are in there's a structure for this country right now, and questions like that needs to be answered through the democratic process, right? Through using our representatives, and we need to work with the current process to get the change we want. And as part of that change, as we're looking at the problem, we'll start to see that, okay, there are many solutions to this problem. Some of the root causes is that, look, there is bad governance. Okay, maybe Saide are saying that, let's secede and get better governance. Maybe Saide will say, okay, before we all secede, maybe why don't we try this new approach to governance as well? Maybe we try new people. Maybe we try, at least we have a democracy that ensures that we can change our presidents and our state governors. Why don't we try new things? Let's try some new set of people and see if this will work. I think I'm always mindful of the fact that division itself, sometimes makes things, people as a unit, weaker, right? And, I've always wanted us to be united as a country, because at the end of the day, my security guard is a northerner, the person that cooks my food, is an Igbo lady, also a Calabar, and, if they are going to put something in my food, they will put it, and maybe I'd have gone, but we are all one family in my household, and so in that microcosm there is unity. Why can't we have unity as a whole? If the problem is bad leadership, then maybe there are young men. A lot of these people, when they got politics, they are about 40, around my own age as well. They're all young, bright young men and women all around Nigeria. Why don't we all come together and use the election 2023, whatever, and get into governance and change these things. So that's what that's my own
2023 get to governance. And there are many 2020, there have been many 1999, there have been so many for 4 years. There have been so many for 4 years. Niyi, let us be realistic. I'm not trying to force or impose my thinking on you. You are entitled to, and you have done very well by trying to tell our viewers the way you feel, because you are entitled to. But I still want to take you that you now know, say, igi kan or no, tí ó jẹ́ kẹ́ lè kọjá, tí wọ́n dẹ̀ àwọn kan tẹ̀ sọ pé tí wọ́n yẹ kán wúgi yẹn kán gégi wọ́n lè takú. Why do you still want to Why do you still want to make, and you have made efforts religiously, politically, everything, economically, and so on and so forth, and they insist, what do you think? Look at the situation in the country where, as far as some people, part of the country is concerned, Igbo man will never be the president. And how do you deal with that kind of injustice, fairness, and fair play?
I think, going back to your analogy, people the tree in obstructing our progress. And some people want to cut it down, and some people want to that. I'm a religious person, and got you along about the machine. No machine.
Oh, Ọlọ́run ló ní kí igi ẹ wá bẹ́ẹ̀ kí igi ẹ má di kó máa jẹ́ pé.
No, I'm just saying that if that tree will fall for our progress, because our progress will happen, right? And if that tree has to fall for our progress, then invariably it will fall, right? But so that we understand the analogies, I see that tree as the problems of Nigeria that are inhibiting our growth, right? And not necessarily a question on whether we are succeeding or not. I believe that, on we can fix those problems, right? Because now we won't get around the tree, go get part of the tree, maybe you can walk around the tree, maybe you can climb the tree and jump to the other side, maybe you can use the tree. There are many ways to use that tree as a strength. All I know is that I don't want a situation where, we get into something that the only way we can solve our problems is by dividing. I fundamentally want this country to work. I haven't given up on it at all. I have not given up on it at all. I see so many signs, maybe because I live here in Lagos. There's so many Igbos, Hausas, Fulanis, Tiv, Idoma. My wife is not a Yoruba woman. She's from Port Harcourt. I'm from a multi-religious family. So I see so much diversity, and we're all working together. So that's why I can't lose hope. But I do understand the concerns of those that believe that, look, I don't see any future in this country, but let us exhaust all our possibilities before. And because I believe there are multiple solutions to the problem, Sorry.
I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was I'm happy you still see yourself as advocate of democracy, you're a Democrat, and so on and so forth, and you want to maintain that, even though I've not been, I don't know how many people are convinced that despite all these obstacles, we can still make progress because it becomes perennial. The obstacle has always been there before I was even born. That's the way I look at it. Now, 2 weeks ago, there was a kind of boycott of election in a democratic structure. What does that say to you? What's the meaning of some people? They did not even, is it a local government?
Like, the 2003 elections, right? Participating in that vote, sorry, right? That election. And I understand that, look, you have to get involved, right? Now, when you see...
Yeah, the people who have got involved, they've spoken. They said they're not going to vote because they're sick and tired. They've spoken.
Now, it's a statement. It's a political statement. They made a political statement saying, no, that look, we're tired of, this process. We're not going to get involved anymore, right? Now, the challenge now is for those, that, in government, to see that as a sign, not as an isolated thing, but as a sign, because people that are saying they're not going to vote and they're boycotting the election entirely, they're not just going to go back home and sleep. They're going to keep on agitating and going to make, and it's going to be very, and you don't have their mandate because they didn't even participate in the vote, and they don't see you. And the concern is that even if they're enough, as it grows, every time it happens, you lose part of your mandate, right? And then a politician without a mandate, does not have any leg to stand on. So it's very important for politicians.
Very important, yeah.
Short-term minded, to ensure that you get as many people as possible involved in the vote, so that you have a very clear mandate. Otherwise people will challenge your authority. And there's this old saying: a king who has to say "I am king" is no king. And if people don't see you as the legitimate government, then you may not be a legitimate government, and they can argue that authoritatively, right? So it's very, very important that we listen to these as politicians. People that are senior politicians that are in power. I'm not in government. I'm an aspiring person.
You're aspiring to be. Is this, which part of the house are you going for? The Senate or the Rep or House of Assembly?
My community in Itirekati, in Surulere.
Or you want to represent them? Where at which level? Senate, Rep. Say it now, because you are coming back, and if you come back again, obviously it's going to be a promotional arrangement where we are going to be asking you to pay for the cost and everything to promote you. As far as we are concerned, on Cleveland, we are in business of helping everybody, promoting everybody, and as long as they pay the dosh, once the money is paid, no problem at all. Then we can say.
I appreciate you giving me this platform to at least my mind and not charge me a dime.
No. Tonight is free. The subsequent one we're going to charge. We're going to charge you. Now, finally, before I let you go, and also allow you to give my viewers I'm going to give you the last word. I am still bothered that you still do not go beyond the facts that this is a recurrent matter, issues that have been going on for years, and we have been able to count 61 years. And some people now turn around and say, enough is enough. We want to leave. The Igbo have been crying since 1966. Let us go. Let us go, because we cannot have a government that is only a certain part of the country that is taking advantage of others. Yeah, you might as well keep the country, and those who do not believe in the existence of the country, judging from the way we are put together, we want to go. Let them go. Why will anybody say you cannot go? If you want to do something, what rights do you think anybody has to say you cannot go? Or do what you want to do?
So let's unpack this notion that some people are saying we cannot go, right? There's a saying I learned very quickly in politics, is that someone told me our olóṣèlú we politicians were not many. We are very small. We are very few in number. People don't think we are large in numbers. In other words, we have outsized influence compared to our numbers, right? So when people say maybe one part of the country, maybe the north or something, doesn't want other people to go, it really is it that the average northerner that's trying to make a daily bread, what is at the top of his mind is the Igbos must not, or the Yoruba or some another group of people must not leave this country or leave the land that he or she has never even visited, right? So it's always maybe, so when you look deeper at that, I say it's not as if it's the millions of people, tens of millions of people in the north are saying thousands of people back. It's always a few people. So again, when you look at it that way, you now think, hold on a second, this problem is not as, if we want to let's put this thing to a vote. Let us, go back to get involved in the political process, right? And make our intentions known through our representatives and through our voting numbers, right? Because, if some people want to keep a structure, maintain the status quo that in a way because it benefits them, right? Let's not remember that it's always a small number of people, right? The real power lies in the majority of people. Now, if the majority of people want to secede, then let us know that. I'm not convinced specifically that we know the number of people that want to secede, right? But the only best way to do that is to go through the electoral process, so that even tomorrow, if some people manage to succeed, whilst they are succeeding, another group will not start challenging them. So that everybody must have a clear mandate. So if you have the numbers, right, then by all means make that known at the ballot. So that's my own view on it, and I'm trying to be as balanced as possible to on both sides. You know, the ones that want to succeed, whoever, the ones that want to succeed, and the ones that are trying to hold them back. You know, there are not that many, that are trying to hold anybody back. You know, it's majority of people in Nigeria, a majority of people on both sides, in all regions, just want a better country for their children.
But it's taking them 61 years. Niyi, it's taking them 61 years. So they have to wait another 61 years? Is that what you are saying? I will have gone a long time anyway. So are you saying that?
No, we don't have to wait another 61 years. We have an election in 20.
Where's the progress? You see, only we've been through this many years, many times.
Its election is the point where we refresh things. We have to be, that is what our system, the democracy that we've fought for, our forefathers have fought for, has given us that process, right? Has given us that process, right, to make our voices known. And, that's why it's very important that everybody participates. And the worst thing anyone can do, I believe, is to feel that their vote doesn't count. I'm a politician. I know that I've been involved in elections. I've run for office in the past. I understand that people will come out and they'll stand in the sun and they'll want to exercise their votes. Those people's votes are counting now. Unless the election does not happen, and in that way, everybody knows the election did not happen. But in the general election, the big general election, millions of people will come out. We need more younger people to come out. Because anytime I go to my polling unit, a lot of people that I see there are maybe middle-aged, older people. But we need more younger people. We need younger people to come out and vote. We just need more people to come out, and then that voice will be loud and can't deny it. Otherwise we're doing a disservice to these causes that we're all chasing. And so that's how I feel about it. I think majority of Nigerians just want a better nation. One way or the other.
Niyi, you've been wonderful. I appreciate your coming on this show. OtunbaHooLatest is a debut. I must admit, we are the first client, visitor, guest. So you've gotten virtually everything I can use to qualify. I want to appreciate you. I'm waiting for the studio to tell me whether we have time for questions. I'm expecting them to tell me if we have questions at time. Then maybe you can add it to the number of time. We're already doing a little bit above. If you want to hear people's opinion, we never want to impose any opinion on anybody. And because of that, I want to appreciate you for coming. I haven't got the message that we have time for questions and answers. Hopefully next time we're going to build that. Have a CRA and our plans. What's your final word tonight, Alagba Honorable Niyi?
Well, my final word is to the youth of Nigeria. I mean, don't lose hope in this country. Don't lose hope. The solution to our problems lie within our capacity. Within our capacity. We are going to fix this nation together. The people that there are multiple generations of people that run this country, and that has come to they are at a stage where younger people are going to start running this country. Getting more involved in politics and getting more involved in the process of governance, and that involves every single young person out there. We all have a role to play. Starting from local government, and moving up, to state and national and federal levels. So don't lose hope in your country. Get involved in the process, and God willing, we'll all build Nigeria, or the local government, the states, and the Nigeria of our dreams. That's what I have to say.
I like your optimism. You're very good. But tomorrow, Chimoto Yoruba Nation be ready. Are you going to jump in the Gabi Oshimawale? No, Nigeria. I'm when you can't decide, because as far as Nigeria is always good. We are just fed up, like Yorubas are saying. We are qualities. We have all the tradition. We have all what it takes, empirical, geographical, everything put together. We are good to go. We can run. We can run our own government like the way it's done in California. But we offer them, but they didn't want, and we now say, look, let's go our own way. That it has happened in many other countries of the world. Now you just so what you're saying, Yorùbá ni Yorùbá máa jẹ́ Yorùbá ló máa tẹ̀lé. You join ẹ má fi mí lẹ̀ o.
Nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ni ìtẹ̀síwájú ìlú wa, and then might get it. We will get it. You know, whether it's a return back to a different type of form of government that is more accountable, you know, then we'll get it. You know, if we want it, we'll get what we want. If we want, we just have to go and, you know, make our voices heard.
I just heard from the producer that we'll be able to take a couple of questions. Let's say this: are you still available so we can? This is a bonus because to be honest with you, we earmarked 2 hours and then we've gone above that now. But I'm told that we can take a couple of questions. For those of you out there, so you can call this number, and if you call, please be specific, go straight to the question, or you want to add, go to it. The number is +44 790 +44 790 779 779 2363. Let me repeat: +44 790 779 2363. If you want to call, who we get 1 or 2 calls before I allow my guest to retire. Otherwise, this show is going to be every Friday, 7 to 9. And as you can see, it's a new innovation. You click a line to watch us on television, and then you can contribute, you can participate if you so want to. So that's it. Tonight, the number if you want to call is 44 790 779 2363. We still have because we told our guests 1.5 hours. So, but the studio, the producer, I say, well, once our guest agrees to do another maybe 20 more minutes, so we can use that. So if you want to call, please let the calls start rolling in. Now, while I want to thank you for allowing this extension. Thank you very much for allowing this extension, that at least we can take another 10-15 minutes of your time, because I can imagine how much you'll be charging for 1 hour. Even in Nigeria, not much, you know, you can still charge them for this one.
We charge in naira, we don't charge in dollars. So.
You're charging naira.
Yes.
Well, again, tell me why we are waiting for calls to come in. We have spoken about your mission, your vision, and from all look of things, I can see from the way you're speaking some of the achievements recorded against your name. And we also try to talk about, can you hold on a minute? Hold on, please. Hello, who's calling? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Shi. I'm calling from France.
Yes, what have you got to say?
I want to first appreciate your guests for coming on the program and maybe some.
Yeah, Ellie, so okay. Ọgbọ́ Yorùbá, àwọn náà gbọ́ Yorùbá dáadáa. Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Ó ń gbọ́rọ̀ yín.
Mo tó ń sọ pé ká lọ sí ìjọba process àwọn politician.
Alàgbà Niyi, can you hear?
Just a bit. I can hear. I can hear
okay, you. Yeah, continue, Alàgbà from France.
Okay. So the man that go sọ pé ká lọ sí political process ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó ń sọ pé about around that we need to wait 61 years. If you know it, maybe the process wo ló wà nílẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ó ṣó pé ìlú yìí wọ́n ti realize mistake wọn. Want to realize the mistake one. But she mistake. Mistake by that issue. Okay. I been to correct those mistakes. To correct those mistakes. She election is solution to those mistakes. To our fundamental structural problem. That is okay. That is amalgamation. The question of the election is solution. Then tell about the okay, National Assembly. Do we have the numbers to change things to because the problem so question
let me relate it to. Did you hear Alàgbà Niyi? Fantastic. Oh yeah, eba mi down alone. Thank you very much for the caller.
Okay. Eshon, good evening, my brother. So you're right. Like I said, our problems are the problems that we have. The process to solve them starts with, is based on this foundation of democracy that we have. Our democracy affords us elections every 4 years, right? And because our elections in democracy supports multi-party politics, the only thing that's left right now, and I know it seems like a lot of problem is a Herculean effort, is we need to get organized. We can, Mr. X today, right, can decide, nobody will stop you if you want to aspire to any office, even to enter the presidency, that we know that it's extremely difficult to get into. There are people that we have never heard before that will wake up and they will say they want to run for president. Nobody will stop you. And the same applies for governor, House of Reps, local government councillor. Or you can be in front of nobody and decide that you want to run. If you find that, this party that they're not very open to you coming in, or they feel that you need to go and join the queue and you don't want to join the queue, there's nothing stopping you from joining another party or setting up a strong party yourself. Even AC and Tarins, there are people that set them up, and sometimes they find that you can't change the existing system. Maybe we'll merge with other interest groups so that you can change the system. We have seen that happen where a sitting governor party, an incumbent party was kicked out of the presidency because other people, came together with that, also like mind and changed that process. Now, so take another set of interests, maybe people that want to maybe just secede from the nation, or people that want to, have maybe government fund education in a different way. They have a different kind of progressive approach to progressivism, right? There's nothing stopping them from coming together and making making their voices heard and contesting for election and winning those elections. Again, you have to do the grassroots work. You have to get people, because no matter what, you still have to get tens of thousands of votes. Depending on what you are trying to run for. You have to go and convince other people on the streets, people in their canvas, say, look, we are, this is our cause, support us, and you have to win their trust. That's the harder part of it, right? It's one thing to say, okay, this is our cause, nothing to make sure you can get all the votes, right? And if it's so that's. But again, because it's hard, does not mean it's impossible. It just requires a lot of time, planning, and working together with different people. That whole thing they call political compromise and, give and take. So you can get all the numbers together to make sure you drive your cause, right? Sometimes you may find that, this thing may take 8 years. It's not a 4-year job. It may take 8 years, it may take longer. But there's no better time than now to start. Now, because our democracy allows us to do these elections, it's very valuable. We need to use it to drive any kind of change we want in our nation. Now, last part of Tabate winning our House of shining numbers. If you win the seats in the National Assembly, do we have the numbers? That's where, again, if we frame questions around along the line of ethnicity, because you find that okay, some ethnic groups, maybe in the north, they have more
members,
because there are more states in the north, there are more members, right? But if you frame your question, if you frame it in terms of it's us versus them, you always feel that I'm in a minority. But when I was growing up, I went to a unity school. I have a lot of good friends, tight friends that are northerners. This person is my enemy, or never my enemy, or she was never my enemy. That all of us are even in one WhatsApp group today. We are still chatting and joking and doing all the banter. So when you look at it that way, it's not a case of this is not an ethnic issue. It's basically some people have one interest and another set of people have another interest, and the people that have those interests can span multiple interest groups, and that interest, again, I always say it. Is the core interest, at least that I'm interested in, that lines with me, is that look, I want a better future for my child, and I'm not the only person with children. Other Yoruba men do, other Igbo men do, other Hausa or Fulani, men or Kanuri men also want better life for their children. And if that is what our ultimate goal is, why don't I identify these other people and let us all work together, and then we'll find out that we have the numbers. That's how I see it. But once we frame it along the ethnic ground, we will not automatically say, outside the one will never support war. They would now, we've almost lost the battle from day one because we don't have the numbers.
Thank you very much. The gentleman from France, and I'm sure you had the response from our guest, what he said. If we can have maybe one or two more calls, that would be nice. And the number we gave you tonight is not permanent number. Sometimes again, when we come on this show, we'll be giving you another number. So please, this number is only for tonight. Do not call after the show. Do not call this number after the show. I want to thank you again while we are still waiting. What is key to me is that because we have I think I have another caller. Hold on, please. Yes, can you speak up, please, caller?
Nípa ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n sọ àti kó èrò jọ láti pé èmi lérò bá tí àtìyẹ̀lẹ̀ tó bá ti wà láàrin wọn. Ìkíní ìfipá ńlẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe ń to nǹkan wọn láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ wá. So pé èèyàn kan ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń yọjú dé ó jọ ìwọ̀n ó ṣe bá ṣàwó pọ̀ tí wọ́n gbogbo tó máa ṣe. Ẹjọ́ sàlàgbà Níyì láti ọdún yìí tá ti wà nídìí gbogbo kìíní yìí. Mo lérò wípé ẹ ń rí pé bí ìmọ̀ bóyá ẹ ń rí pé ìrẹ́jẹ wà nínú gbogbo tó wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yẹn rárá. Torí pé kí ni ní gbogbo positions tí wọ́n pín àwọn èèyàn sí, custom ni o, igbá ni o, àwo ni o, ẹgbọ́n àwọn pípò iná jẹ lórí wa, wọ́n dẹ̀ ń sọ wọ́n ń gàba lórí wa, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn èèyàn wa rí rárá wípé ìrẹ́jẹ wà nínú nǹkan tó wà nílùú Nàìjíríà. Wọn ò pín nǹkan kan dọ́gba fún wa, ṣùgbọ́n síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ náà àwọn èèyàn wa takú. Kò sí pé àbọ̀dà wa rèé, ẹ ṣe láti ti nǹkan tó wà lọ́dọ̀ wa. Ẹ ṣe láti máa kó gbogbo nǹkan ọ̀rọ̀ tá a bá ṣe ní orílẹ̀-èdè sáìdì wa lọ sọ́hùn fún ara yín. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè béèrè ìbéèrè yẹn nínú gbogbo ẹ̀yin governors honorable igbá àwọn tẹ̀jẹ̀lé wa lórí. It's like pé bámúbámú ni mo yó. Mi ò mọ̀ wípé bí ó pa ẹnìkankan. Èmi lérò pé tí wọ́n bá gbé àwọn tó jẹ́ grassroots, àwọn citizen tí ebi ń pa tó ń sọ́fà wá sí orí ètò yìí, iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ wọn ó máa yàtọ̀ sí àwọn tó ń look towards àti get àwọn people láti vote fún wọn. Ọ̀rọ̀ láti get èèyàn láti vote fún wọn, mi lérò pé ìyẹn ó ṣòro rárá fún àwọn tó bá wà láàárín wọn. Àjòjì ni ò lè rí àárín wọn wò. Ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí Ọlọ́run ẹ̀ ti ń ṣe ó ti ń fojú gbogbo ẹ̀wọ̀n. Ṣùgbọ́n báwo lẹ ṣe kílẹ̀ rí sọ sí ní ìyà tó ń jẹ wá, ta la rí nínú ẹ̀yin olórí wa tẹ́ ti sọ̀rọ̀ sí wípé a ní oko, wọn ò bá wa dá sí pé wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn nínú oko. Iyàn mú bọ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ààrẹ èèyàn kọ́kọ́ dá sí. Wọ́n ní wọ́n pa èèyàn wọn lórí wọn sọ sí ọ̀rọ̀ ìbò ṣáá ní. Kí lẹ fẹ́ bá wa rí division sí wọ́n pín fúnra wọn sí nọ́ọ̀tì.
ẹ ṣé mà.
àbí pín ọkàn ọ̀ra I don't know ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú ẹ bá sọ sí yẹn.
ẹ ṣé mà mo dúpẹ́ mà ẹ ṣé mà.
ọmọ Yorùbá ni.
ẹ ṣé mà. alàgbà Níyì Yorùbá ni màmá yẹn sọ mi rò pé.
Okay. Kò ṣe gbogbo ta tune in program ilé lágbó Yorùbá. That's why.
ẹ lè dáhùn in English.
That's why ẹ má bínú mà máa sọ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì díẹ̀. Sherry ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń sọ yẹn different regions. Tí láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí ló ń pè even cabinet president wọ́n ti sọ pé you must get one person from each state. And going in and that same rule will apply in different parts of different agencies, not just cabinets. And tabari division nínú kíní nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá ṣe bó ṣe yẹ kó ṣe ṣe ó máa cause the trust problem and suspicion. And nǹkan tó ń da and tell about it ní trust problems it máa cause division ó máa cause you cannot progress with division. So that's why a gbọ́dọ̀ padà sí ọ̀rọ̀ kíni national character wa. Inú mi dùn pé kò ń jẹ́ pé a ní láti ṣe new law lórí ẹ̀ existing law tó wà níbẹ̀ náà ni. So mọ́mí yẹn wọ́n tún sọ pé ṣẹ́rí àwọn why are people not speaking up? Àwọn nǹkan wọ́n rádaràdà why tell fi sọ̀rọ̀ let me speak for myself. Me I'm a honorable. I'm not an elected official. I'm an aspirant. I am aspiring to serve my people. I'm aspiring to speak for my people, primarily people here in Surulere, where I represent, where I live, and the majority of my own people, that people are doing in the world me, doing local government me, doing even Lagos, man Basoro, what they are telling us is they want a better economy. They want a better economy, and they want jobs. One of the biggest problems in Nigeria ni ọ̀rọ̀ pé láàrin àwọn ọ̀dọ́ unemployment níṣẹ́ ṣe ó ti fẹ́ dé ìdajì almost about 47%. And that's very very high. So àwọn ọ̀dọ́ náà wọ́n ń wáṣẹ́ and àwọn iṣẹ́ ta need. I'm talking about maybe over 30 million jobs, new jobs.
30 million.
Yes, we need about at least maybe 30 million new jobs. If you think about what 47% of the youth being unemployed means, right? You need at least about 30 million new jobs, and those will create all that new jobs. Now, federal government, but you told me to hire more than 1 million people now, and that's when they are overstaffed. They need to they level you want an issue that must solve salary. So government must create jobs that need for our. We need to fix our economy because the problem when people can create 1 million jobs. Or can 1 million jobs. The federal government see 6 places. It creates 30 million new jobs. And that means fix our economic problem. So I want to pay security. Why do we have a security problem? Bad we fix it so that I want investment. I want so that I want to very lost no corporate as in our agbe. I want so that I will rise. I will those people, we need to be able to empower them. And we need to be able to enable them to work. Those are big problems that we are facing. But apart from that, does not mean that again our national character are very important because as much as insignificant as 1 million jobs is to the bigger problem of our job gap, it's still important. Because the costly our government is very important because it shows people that we are part of the system. We are part of the circle, and maybe we must tell it because the problem that needs to pass. Everything we are seeing right now will pass. Like how long we have an election coming up. We are praying that we will get the right people in there, fix the problem, and right control the people care about the progress of this country. I am one of them. I'm not the only person. I'm sure there are many other people that we just need to work together and put the right people into government so that we can fix our nation.
I noticed that part of our discussion revolve round, I refuse to mention any tribe, but revolve round one tribe that's chosen to terrorize other tribes. You know them, and also they keep pushing an agenda that I think is inimical, say progress. One of them is that they still insist that the certain way of doing governance in their own way. It's shocking to hear that our conscience is open grazing let it take place. Because you might dare gbọ̀nà Ṣàgámù, because you might da hold up lẹ̀ lọ́nà owó dé àtàn ọ̀tà. Tàbí kọ́ àwọn màálù wọ́n sì máa lọ da àwọn ọmọ kíláàsì rú. Tàbí kọ́ sì máa lọ University of gbogbo wọn gbọ̀nà to register wọn sí. There are more malus in university, most of the universities than ordinary people. And there are more malus to benefit from the state than ordinary people. Now, again, I refuse to be personal, but I tell you something. Awani, the way we see things is different from the way Ben Shinshi Lati Entewanuli. So, hold on. Okay, this is a private call. So I want to say this as a final note. I think from experience, I can appreciate your wish, your dreams and aspiration, and what you think should happen. But I'm not being optimistic. I mean, I'm not optimistic at all. I am pessimistic because from experience, we've been in this thing for a long time, and you just said it. The Mamato Pelekon. If we want to change this thing, and the man from France that called also, the probability of them still saying we are riding high, we are taking advantage, we are in majority, even though it's a cosmetic majority, that's not a real majority, because I don't know when we had a proper census in my own history. I don't know. Can't remember when we have a proper census. But fine. And that's why I want to insist. Those people who say they want to manage their own future, they want to manage their own way of life, I think we should let them have their own chance and go. But that's my own opinion. I'm also entitled to my own opinion. You've expressed your opinion. Well, again, I want to thank you very, very, very much for coming. And I look forward to having you again. And believing that all is going to be well. And I want to pray that final announcement, please do not call this number, because if you call this number, we will not take it. We'll block you if it's not a public number, it's a private number. And like I said, next time around, we are going to give you another number to call. Eshe, you've given your last word. I just want to say I want to thank you very much on behalf of Clenard Radio TV. We appreciate you. We want to thank you. So if you want to advertise, please bring it on board. So bring it on so we can do that for you. Eshe, God bless you. To all our viewers all over the world,
Thank you very much.
We want to thank you very much for